Welcome. I'm Harmony Slater, your host of the Finding Harmony podcast. Over the past 20 years, I've taught thousands of yoga teachers and students to explore the intersection between ancient wisdom and modern everyday life, using mind-body practices to heal, awaken, and manifest their dreams from the inside out. This podcast is a sanctuary for those feeling overwhelmed by life's challenges. Are you ready to jump in and discover how these challenges aren't actually in the way, but are the way to finding harmony? Let's invite the magic back in. Well, hello, welcome to the Finding Harmony podcast. I'm so happy you're here. If you're anything like me, your Instagram feed has just been blowing up with all of the people who are on tour right now taking classes with Sharath Jois. So he's been traveling around the US, in New York and Miami, and maybe you're feeling a little sad that you can't be there in the energy of it all. Well, you still have an opportunity because Sharath is going to San Antonio and classes start Saturday, November 16th, and you can register online at sonima.com. Ana Hollis is hosting him, and guess who we have on the podcast today? We have Ana Hollis, and we're not going to talk so much about the Sharath tour because we want to talk about Anna's experience with yoga. She has a really unique experience in that she's been practicing yoga for a long time, a couple of decades, and through many stages of life, having young children. Now her children are older, through perimenopause, menopause, through injuries, through sicknesses, and through the death of her husband. And we're going to talk about how the practice has helped to support her through this journey and, the benefits that she has found through having a regular sadhana or spiritual discipline in her life. And maybe you can relate, and maybe it will encourage you to jump back in to your practice again, get back on the mat, or devote yourself to something that truly feeds and nourishes your soul on a regular basis. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of this conversation. It's a lovely conversation all about Mysore, India, the journey of practice, as well as what it's like to practice with Sharath or be on tour, and what are some of the benefits of getting into that energy and that community and taking time out of your day and week to join that kind of event. So I'm excited. Let's get in. I'd love to introduce you more intimately to the lovely Ana Hollis, who you may not know, but you're about to know on a whole new level. Hi, welcome to the Finding Harmony podcast. I'm your host, Harmony, and we have an amazing guest today.
You're walking right over me again.
Yes.
I'm also here.
And
I'm
Russell
the
Case
co-host.
is here.
I'm the second, and you say I'm here with my co-host Russell Case.
I'm here with my co-host Russell Case.
I'm here with Harmony Case. She took my name recently, but just walks right over me. I'm in the middle of a rebrand, Harm. I don't know if you've noticed this. I've shaved my head, and I'm gonna try and. Oh, hello! You're also here with us. We'd like to welcome. Oh, you want to do this part, don't you?
Yeah, our guest today is Ana Hollis.
Hi,
Ana.
how are you, Harmony, Russell? I'm very happy to join you today. I'm always getting excited and nervous, but this is gonna be fun with you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I'm like a small child to be played with.
We were just talking about seeing each other a million years ago in Mysore, and also you taking a workshop with Russell a long, long time ago in Austin.
It must have been like 2005, I think.
Was my dad there? Was he sitting in the corner of the room?
Yes.
Wow, that workshop. Yeah. So my dad came and watched. This was Amberlyn Tannehill's first yoga class. She took it with me, and you were
I
in the
was in the
room.
room.
You must have been one of those spectacularly flexible young females. I was always attracting them in my
Yes,
classes.
yes, you're such a good teacher, and I was, when you are like so fascinated with Ashtanga and really looking for a teacher, because in San Antonio we didn't have
Hmm.
nothing of Ashtanga here, nothing. So I used to go to Austin a
Yeah.
lot whenever there was a good workshop. Right. I went
Oh
for
my
yours.
goodness. And did you thought I was a good
Yes, it
workshop?
was amazing. It was amazing, and it was packed.
Oh, it was. I used to be quite popular
Back in the day.
back in the day.
No, you're
Yeah.
still.
Well, that's very kind of
Yes,
you to say. We were at Yoga at the
yes.
time, which was a kind of a famous famously Sikh yoga
Hmm.
community, and Mitab and Guru Karman were the
Yes.
ran the, I think, Guru Karman,
No,
Guru
it
Karman.
was
They
Guru
ran
Charan. Guru.
Charan, yeah, Guru Charan. Yeah, they ran the school. Mitab had like the largest comic book collection in Texas
Oh,
at the
yes.
time. It's a very
Yes.
interesting man. And they were kind to me because I think the first time I took a class with them, I was like a teenager still, and I just kind of blossomed a little bit, and then they sent me off to New York to study with the big boys, and I could play in the
But
big
did you
leagues.
did you take Kundalini with them, or?
I did
Me
take some
too.
Kundalini with them. Yeah, it's a lot of like arm
I
flapping.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, you have to really hold your arms up for a
Yes.
long time, is what my experience. Really, really too long of a time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess that's a kind of austerity. And
It's a
it's
Kriya.
a
Yeah.
kriya, and you would develop like
Yes.
superpowers if you did it long enough. Did you do that? Did you
Yes,
develop
of course.
superpowers? Because you're so flexible.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
You have superpower.
Well, what was it? I mean, were you fairly new to Ashtanga then,
No,
or had you been practicing a
like
while?
I moved from Mexico City in 2003, and I had already started with some Ashtanga there, but I had no idea what it was. And then I bought a book of David Swenson and Joe Scott, that they had the Ashtanga books, and I was doing it by myself,
Oh,
like
yeah,
trying
John
to
Scott's
learn
great.
Supta Kurmasana from a book. It was, of course, ridiculous, but then when I moved to San Antonio, there was like w- one teacher teaching on Saturdays, far away from my house, but I used to
Mhm.
drive there to do primary series. And then I
Wow.
started just practicing with her and following her wherever she was teaching. And then David Swenson came here to San Antonio, so I went
Mhm.
to Austin
Oh, nice.
to study with him many times.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah,
how
he's
I
an
started
amazing.
here by myself in my
Mm,
guest room, practicing by myself.
yeah.
Incredible.
I was a teenager when I met David, and it was incredibly
Mhm.
intimidating. And he was ancient. I think he must have been like 40, 42 at the
Wow,
time. He's like this old man,
imagine.
and he was so
Yes.
flexible. I was like, this guy is awesome. This is who I want to grow up to be when I grow up. I want to be
Hmm.
him. Wow. What brought you to the States from Mexico in
Well,
the first
I
place? We
I have a
2003.
like I'm 63 years old now, so I have lived many lives in one. I I live
Mm,
in New York City, uh, and for
mhm,
6 years, from
Mm.
90 to 96, and I went to a few yoga classes. I have no idea what I was taking, and then I went back to Mexico, and I that's when I started, like
mhm,
in 90, in 96, 97, with yoga, but sporadically and not very good classes. At the beginning, it took me a while to like it, but then my
mm,
husband was from California, and he had
mhm,
a telecommunications company in Mexico, and but he wanted to come back to the States, and we have two
mhm,
sons. Now they're men. They're 22 and 30.
Men.
And yeah, but
Wow.
when we moved, they were kids, and security in Mexico was starting to be a problem. So we moved to San Antonio,
Yeah.
and so I my kids and my husband American, and I was a mojada because I I didn't have papers until later. I had a green card, and then I got the nationalization. But that's how I got
Mhm.
to a quick story how I got to the US.
Wow. What was it about yoga that attracted you to the practice in the 90s when you were
Ye-
sort of not sure if you liked it or
Yes,
not?
that's a very good question. The first few classes that I took, then later on I realized that there was a difference. They were not Ashtanga, so I didn't like. So I said, and I used to work out. Like I used to run, cardio, lift weights. So that was like, this is not nice, not it's boring. But then one day I took
Right.
a class. Later on, I discovered it was Ashtanga, and that said, "Oh, I really
Mhm.
like this." I thought I just liked the teacher better, but it was
Yeah.
Mhm.
she was a very good teacher of Ashtanga, and the group was a beginner, so she took us very slowly into the was the beginnings of my Ashtanga journey. But I felt every time that feeling of inhale, step to the right. I always said it felt like a deja vu, like I this is familiar, and I didn't know how to describe
Mhm.
it. Maybe it was just the feeling of breathing and moving, for the first time in that way. And and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
started practicing like I was not very healthy in those days. I had some issues, not major. So the practice in those days distracted me of everything. And those
Oh,
were
Mhm.
I said, okay, I like it when I'm here because for an hour and a half I cannot think of my issues that I thought I had. And then
right.
and that's what
Right.
got me into this that is was not an easy journey.
Wow.
What did you I mean, who brought you there? Like, why did you think that this might be something for you to do? Or was it did you have, like, a crazy aunt who did this sort
No,
of thing?
but today I am the crazy aunt. Today I am because I have three sisters, and all together we have 10 kids, grown ups. But
Wow.
of the 10, my kids when they were younger, they were curious. They did it for a while with me. They even were at the Shala helping, but now they don't do it. But I have a young niece, and she's my goddaughter. She's 26, and she started during like the lockdown in the pandemia to practice, and then I started
Mhm.
Yeah.
teaching online because there was no other option, and then she started taking, and now she went to take classes with Sharath last year in the Miami, and then she was
Mhm.
in
Nice.
Mysore last December.
Your
Yes,
niece went to
yes,
Mysore.
and
Oh my
and now
goodness.
like she's much better than me now. 26 years old, and she's very athletic and she
Wow.
loves it. And she some young people in Mexico, let's go, I'm going to take you to another class. And every time she went to try something else, she called me right away, said, I don't think I like that, I don't like that. And she only likes Ashtanga. Right away, right away. But I
Mhm.
am the crazy aunt now, actually.
Yeah. That's incredible. What was your first trip to Mysore? So you kind of got into the practice, you're in San Antonio, your kids are growing up. When was it you or sorry, when were you able to take yourself to
Well,
Mysore?
I'm gonna make the story short. My husband passed away in '09, and I was so
Okay.
dependent. But yoga really helped me to be more independent. And it took me a while, but it was in 2014 when I went for the first time. And it was really because a
Yeah.
couple of my students, they kept saying, you need to go to Mysore. So that's when I went for the
Mhm.
first time. My teacher for the longest time before all that time was Tim Miller. I used to go to Encinitas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw some incredible photos of Tim, just looked like he was just torturing you and just putting you into these horrific contortions that shouldn't be done by anyone, and you were doing them so easy, like this incredible, um, uh, like, I think I've forgotten all the names of the postures. Ustrasana, but, like, on your
Oh,
belly,
Yogi
Raya
Beranda.
Kapotasana.
no.
Raya Kapotasana.
It was
Yes.
that
Raja.
Raja Kapotasana. Yeah, yeah, that's one. But you had your hands on your
Oh, yes. He
knees,
was helping
and
me.
he had his knees on your shoulders. He was driving your head right back, and it was like, "Oh my, who can
No,
do
but
this?"
you know how you can be good at
Mm,
some and then at others. Like sometimes, if I'm a
mhm,
overcooked noodle, I say, you know, sometimes you know, inversions have come and gone in my life. They come and go. Sometimes it's okay. I keep going in my practice, and some other times I think, "Oh, why is this not happening?" And that's one of my
mhm,
challenges. It looks like I can do that contortionism, but others are challenging. Um, but
yeah. Like, I've seen you in Durvasasana, for example,
oh
like
yes,
standing straight up and
yes,
down. That was
thank
incredible.
you, thank you.
Wow.
But like that's why I keep saying. But now I'm 63 and things change. But that's the nice
Yeah.
thing with the practicing with Sharaji now is like he's so encouraging. Of that of older people also. He's very, and
Mm,
Yeah.
he's always saying you do what you can till you can. Don't stop
mhm,
practicing, and so
mm.
I like that. I like that.
Would you go and visit Tim, like, every month or every year? Like, how did you have a
My
relationship with
relationship
him?
with him, I would see him twice a year. He also came to my Shala like 7 times, but it was not it was not as much as I wanted to. I, I one day I said,
Mhm.
maybe I just move here to Encinitas, like many people did. Many people used to move there
Yeah.
just to practice
Yeah.
with him. And he said, no, 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 you need to go your community. You take care of a
Mhm,
community there. And it's still
mhm,
Yeah.
challenging because San Antonio is not like the type of city like Miami or New York, LA, or even Mexico City, that more people are attracted to this kind of practice. San Antonio has always been challenging, but it's
mhm.
okay. That's why we are here doing that. And now that Sharaji is coming, is
Yeah.
like
You
I'm
need it.
still, yeah, I'm still like in the like I don't, I cannot believe it yet.
Well,
Yeah.
can you walk us through what that was like? I once asked Sharath to come to Taiwan, and I remember the whole experience of asking him and his reaction. I remember where I was in space, what step I was on in the Shala. I remember everything about it. Can you tell us the story of how you got him to come to San
Well,
Antonio?
I have a partner now. I used to have the shala by myself, but a couple of my students started telling me and my partner, why don't you ask him? I said, that's silly, but I will ask him. I will ask him. And one day I just asked him, and it was several years ago. It took several years. And he just looked at me because I was behind. I said, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But then he stopped and he said, send an email. So I started sending email.
Send it.
Um, and then in 22, one of my students, she's an Indian student that um, they have a very strong community and she is very influential in the Indian community with the doctors. And they were going to
Mhm,
have a big event here for the doctors of Indian origin in San Antonio for the first
mhm.
time here, and it was huge. It was huge, so many, and they wanted Sharaji to come, but and
Oh,
he actually said yes. I talked to him, and I said this is one of my students, and she also communicated with him directly. She did the invitation, but we I kept talking with him about it. That trip was canceled because of
Mhm.
the year that he couldn't come. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, and this is 22, and then I said, I still gonna keep inviting you. So I said, I'll still keep inviting you. And when you have those appointments to tell him that, oh, this hurts and that hurts, and you will make appointment with
Mhm.
him. And I said, every
Yeah.
time I have the opportunity to talk, I always say, the invitation is still there. And then I didn't say anything. And then I got a WhatsApp message from Andrew Hillman, and he just said, like, Guruji is coming, San Antonio, these are the dates. I don't say anything until it's confirmed. And then my heart stopped. I said, oh my
Yeah.
God. That's how it happened. That's how. And of course,
Wow.
Wait, what are
no, tell me.
oh, go
Well,
ahead.
I have a lot
What are the
of
dates?
help here. I felt
Yeah.
confident. Like I said, my
Good.
partner and all the community, her name is Paulina. She said, are you going to mention me? I said, of course. And she's very sweet, and she is very organized and very structured, and that helps me a lot. And so
Right.
basically, she's doing like 70% of this organization, but we're
Mhm.
doing it together. But it's super super nice to have that help and support. I feel confident.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a big event to
Mhm.
plan, I would
Yeah.
think. Many people, hundreds of people
Yes, we already
probably.
have close to 200 in some of the classes. Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think to we've done a few of these, and I didn't think to offer any kind of advice. I didn't imagine that I would, but I'm thinking one of the things that really helped me the most when we were at Stanford was when I had my team, we created pods, and there was like a floor pod, parking pod, front gate
Yes,
pod, and each pod had a captain. And so I was like, I'm a very kind of angry, shouty person. So I was boss pit
yes.
pod. I was the pit. I was
Mhm.
pit boss, and that was my pod. And people said, "Oh, that's a natural for Russell. He's so angry." And and then Robbie Cavallero, he was parking boss because we wanted the nicest, sweetest man possible to be the first person
Yeah,
at the door. And then someone like Amberlyn or Ann Finstead or Harmony was in charge of T-shirt boss at one point because she's so good at selling things.
oh, you were.
And but like
Yes.
really, yeah, those people, like, I really gave them as much control and power as possible. Like, you don't need to come
Mhm.
to me for advice or instruction. You're the boss of the parking. You're the boss of the front desk. You run the show and you make the
That's very
decision.
good
And
advice.
then volunteers
Mhm.
volunteers come through the woodwork. Everybody
Yes,
wants to help. And you say, "Oh, we're light in the pit. Go help Russell in the pit because you look like a real bitch." That kind of thing.
Rosie.
So actually, Amberlyn helped me in the
Mhm.
pit because she's such yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Well, that's very good advice. We are I was
yeah,
we are getting organized a little bit that way, but your advice is very helpful. Thank you. It makes
yeah.
me feel
What are the dates
responsible.
that he's coming to
Pardon me?
again?
What are the dates?
Mm. What are
16
the
to
dates?
20, November 16 to 20.
It's
Yes,
coming. It's
yes.
coming, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, wow.
And then he's going to New York to do a teacher
To
training.
Virginia.
Oh,
To
Charlottesville.
Virginia.
Oh, Virginia.
Yes.
Charlottesville, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about this? Are you
Yes,
going
I'm
to
going.
this?
Actually gonna end up going to everything because I was not going to New York, but it happened. We have a family wedding. My nephew is getting married
Mhm,
in New York City. Oh, so I'm gonna be the
mhm,
Oh,
same
nice.
date. So I'm planning. Hopefully, I have the stamina and everything to go get a class there in New York, and then from there I'm going to
mhm,
Miami, and then
mhm.
come back to San Antonio, I guess, for 5 days, and then I'm going to Virginia. and then we're
Right.
coming back with him. Coming back,
Okay.
we're gonna drive together to the airport and then bring him to San Antonio.
Okay.
And then come to San
Yes.
Antonio.
Yeah. So you're gonna
Ah,
learn
amazing.
this active
Yes, I have no
series,
idea what
this brand new
yes,
Ashtanga series for active people who don't have
exactly.
time to practice. That's what John
Oh,
Boltman
okay. So
told me.
you know more because I
Yeah.
really don't know. I just say,
Oh,
I
no.
want to go, I want
Impossible.
to go, and I have no
Mm.
idea what I'm doing.
I feel
Yeah.
like I've been teaching active
Oh, I know.
series for the last
I
30
I've
years.
been doing it. I'i've been doing yoga for active people hard the
You
last
know,
couple of years.
we have at our in our community people of all ages, and sometimes we have
Yeah.
older people that walk in through the door, and I look at them and I said, "You really want to learn Ashtanga?" So we do our best, and many stay. Like we really
Yeah,
have to adapt. I don't say modify. We
Mhm.
adapt, because they want to
yeah,
do this. They want to move and breathe together,
Mm.
and they like the philosophy and all that. Like you said, we've been teaching
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So maybe you can offer some advice while you're there learning the active
yes.
series.
We
Thank you.
we should have had you on the show like during the active series weekend and done a live spot. I've been telling you we need to do more live spots from people live on air from location.
But
Mm.
speaking of like practicing, I mean, not just teaching to older people, but even in your own experience, what have you noticed shifting over the last 20 years of Ashtanga yoga practice in your own body and in your own
Yes. Well,
practice?
a lot. I was doing acro yoga, which is not the best. Yeah, there
Acro
was not. So
yoga.
I fell, and now this
Exciting.
shoulder can dislocate. So I relearned.
Oh, you
I
just
relearned to practice the
oh
best way I could.
no.
And so
Mhm.
all the pictures that you saw are after, so that I have been able to do almost everything I used to do. But there's some other things that I don't do anymore. But anyway,
Wow.
I every time I feel like I'm getting older, I got an injury, here and there. Then, but I keep doing it. I keep doing it. I put my mat. Every time I feel like that, and I tell that to my younger students, I said, there's something, there's a new information coming, and I can keep doing it. And sometimes I feel I get stronger, that there's still an opportunity, to get stronger. I can still do it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's my thing, strength. So I
Mhm.
feel that I can still do it, and I get inspired again. But it has changed. Of course, has
Mhm.
changed. The speed and
I have
no, no. Tell me.
I'm so
No,
sorry to
no.
interrupt you. You're so sweet. I'm inspired by Paramaguru's decision to create the active series. I think it's very interesting because for us in our generation, in the 2000s, we were told change nothing.
Yes.
This is
Mm-hmm.
parampara. The practice comes exactly as how I
Mm-hmm.
learned it. And of course, you hear, that actually Krishnamacharya did things quite a bit
Yes.
differently, you know, and things. An A and B series were very different from how third, fourth, and fifth series
Mm-hmm.
are now, and there were a lot of changes. But we were told over and over again, like, there's no
Mm-hmm.
changes, there is no invention. Do not make up anything. Don't create anything. And for Sharath to kind of look at his community and say, well, maybe I need to adjust and do something like Desikachar,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of maybe make something that's tooled to the individual. It's really an interesting choice for him. I think there's some courage there. I wonder, you're very close to him,
Well,
obviously, and you're still very much in the thick of it. And we're excommunicated.
oh
We're out.
no.
We're and so our names are not to be spoken. But you're very
Yeah,
close still, and so it's amazing to me that that he's doing this. What did you think of this when you heard about it? What are other
you,
people saying?
you, you know, that's I put myself as the example because I feel like he knows I don't do catching. Sometimes I don't want to do the dropbacks just because of my arm. I used to do with one arm,
Yeah.
but that's it's not,
Oh,
yeah, it's not good.
that's kind of
No, it's
crazy.
not good, and eventually I was gonna get hurt on the good one, right? But what
Yeah.
I always want to say, like one day he said, "Move on," you know, to finish intermediate series, to let me do the practice. He just told me to move on, and then sometimes he comes and he tells me like Raya Kapotasana, like if I can catch my feet, you know, instead of catching from standing, which I can't, only when I'm being
Hmm.
helped. And I said, I'm the perfect example that if you show dedication and you're here, that there's some adaptability to the practice, and then I can still do the postures that are beneficial for me to keep doing. You know, the mentality when you
Hmm.
get older is very important to keep that enthusiasm, and that you can still learn even new postures. You know,
Hmm.
I believe
Hmm.
it's very important because I can see that sometimes in my students, and I want to deliver that enthusiasm to them, that there's always
Mhm.
always a way. If it's not you know, you don't have to look like the picture or the in the book. It's nothing like that. So we can still
Mhm.
feel the method inside of us without being, you know, it has to be like this. And like I always say to
Hmm.
my students, it's not cookie cutter. You know, it's impossible.
Mhm.
I have i have students, sometimes I look at them. I wish you could see a picture I took. I was the tiniest little thing one day when there were
Mhm.
all these men in my class. You know, I'm 5'4", and some of
Hmm.
my students, like the tallest one is like 6'7", something like, yes,
That's a little too
yes,
tall.
a lot.
Mm.
Well, and
Yeah.
this is like I'm showing off, okay? That I was able to teach him Karandavasana and TikToks, and I said like, oh my God, if I was able to do this with you. But I took this picture because they were all much taller than me, so I have to figure it out how to teach these men and to do something effective. You know, when you're trying to help them or assist them in
Mhm.
their postures. Like if I put all my weight on them, they don't even feel it. But there's other
No.
ways. There's other ways.
Yeah, that's what Harmony told me in the bedroom recently. There's other ways that we can do this, and I said, "Okay, I'm up for it." I remember when I first started
Did you make
adjusting.
it's hot?
Um, is it warm? Is it warm now? Yeah, it's getting colder here in Canada. I can tell you, ice cold. And but when I first started s- y- when I first started teaching, I was in New York, and I remember Guy Donahue. I was apprenticing with him, and so that was really nice to have someone just right next to me, watching me do every
Mhm,
adjustment. And he had a lot of generosity to let me, use his room as a
mhm.
lab, basically. But like when there was anyone just like a giant, he said, "Oh, Russell, you do it." Because like, so I'm like this massively flexible giant 6'7" guy came into class, and he was just like, I was the one who had to make him
Yeah.
catch his ankles every day. And I've got like his penis in my face and the whole thing. It's like horrific. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do, I don't know if this, but I love the job. The job's great. I love teaching
Yes.
Mysore. And even with all of that, I was saying to Harmony the other day, the number of times that Petrie's dick hit me, I was like, "Oh, I've had enough of waking up at 3 in the morning to go take the train in New York so I can, like, cross swords with Petri Raisinen every morning." Like, I've had enough of it. It's like, but yeah, still, I miss it though. I would like to go to a class.
No, I never had that problem
Yeah.
because I would be like, oh my
You
God,
didn't?
no, no,
No?
no, no, not that close. No,
No, there's
but I,
always, like, genitals or, like, someone's boob is in the way. I can't stand it. Did you have the experience to have somebody that you could really work next to? Like, did Tim let you work the class with him ever? Did you have an opportunity to
to
apprentice?
assist him, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I had the opportunity, and whenever he came to San Antonio, also I assisted him, and I have assisted
Mhm.
Sharaji also like 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
4
but
times.
I'm
Wow.
Nice.
the one that when somebody has to be soft, he sends me.
Mhm.
I always
Oh.
try to avoid the tall guys at the back to do catching because I said, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go underneath them to,
Yeah, exactly.
yes,
Exactly right.
but I do learn a lot, and I'm very honored, when I can do it, when I
Mhm.
can.
How do you Yeah, how do you feel that, Mysore has changed? Because you've been continuing to go since 2009, and you were just there
Yes.
recently. And so how has it kinda shifted and changed from when everything was in Gokulam to the new Shala and the younger
Oh,
people,
yeah.
different
Everybody
people?
keeps getting younger and younger and younger. One of these days, I'm gonna be the mother of everybody, and then oh my God, I can be the grandmother now of everybody. But
Yeah.
I when sometimes if I think of the old Shala, and then there was some things that we do miss about that Shala. But
Mhm.
this we have learned to like this one also. When
What
Mhm.
do you miss about the old
I
Shala?
don't know, it felt like I used to tell Tim Miller, I think there's still sweat of you on that carpet where we practice.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
the feeling of so many people being there before me. And I never met
yeah,
Yeah.
Guruji Patavi Jois. I never met him. So just to have that feeling that he was there, and then many of you that went before me, it
yeah,
had that
Mhm.
substance. I think.
Mhm.
And
yeah,
but in the
Well,
new Shala, is like when it's so much bigger, and there's eight eight toilets, or more.
yeah. I saw the bathroom. I think there's more. It's luxury. It's a luxury bathroom, I noticed when I was there.
Yes, but I think there's more. There's more than, but it's and then what? Just observing that Sharaji was super happy to have more room, to have
Mhm.
more space. The students could do that, and
Yeah,
then it was.
Yeah.
I think that has its strength because of that, and now it has
yeah,
a
Mhm.
lot of energy. A lot of people have been coming
yeah,
there, and I do like it also. I like it a lot.
yeah. One thing that didn't change was there was still no toilet paper
Oh
offered
yes,
in the women's
yes,
bathroom.
that didn't change. That
Mhm.
didn't change.
You use your hand. You use your hand, everyone knows
Nor
that.
nor soap.
No,
You use your
no soap.
hand. No one uses soap. For 1 or 2, no one uses soap. We've established that. You use your hand. That's why you don't shake hands with your left
Just as a
hand.
warning to
You
everyone.
don't use your left hand to shake hands or pick things up. You wouldn't pick up a book with your left hand because you use that for the toilet.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying if you're running a shala, toilet paper and soap is often
Because then you have to go put your hands on the yoga mat all over it in the middle of your practice. You've had to go poop, and now you've got your poopy hands on the yoga
don't
mat.
poop at the shala.
And then you're gonna then you gotta grab your own ankles, and it's all you got poopy on your
But
ankles now.
what about if you're
It's terrible.
assisting?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you're assisting. You got your poopy hands over everyone's body.
Bring your own soap.
I got a disease once from somebody in the
No,
yoga
really?
room because I was teaching. Do you really wanna hear about it?
Yes.
So
Not
Yes.
really.
so I'm
Before
teaching, and I'm, like,
before you
going,
tell me your story,
and
I'm
I'm
gonna say I do bring toilet paper and soap. But before that,
we
Yeah,
don't
hand
wanna walk
yes,
over
sanitizer.
okay.
that.
So
Yeah, no, that's
tell us the
important.
story, please.
So,
It is a
s
public announcement that we're
some
making just for
some
everyone
people
planning to go to Mysore.
if
Bring your own
anyone's gonna
toilet paper
go
and soap.
to Ana Lopez de Hollis's class in San Antonio, she will have clean
Yes.
hands. It's just as a
Sorry.
PSA. So I'm teaching in the room, teaching in the and my everything's really sweaty, and I have to go to the bathroom. And as a man, you just go into the bathroom and, forgive the expression, you whip it out and you
That's so good.
pee,
Sometimes we do
and
that
then you
too.
and then you yeah, yeah, and then you wash your hands. Yeah, you wash your hands as a man, like a civilized man. You wash your hands. A lot of men don't, by the way. I don't know if you've ever been to an airport. 8 out of 10 men do not wash their
Wow.
hands. So do not shake hands with men, is my advice. So then I go out and I'm back to teaching. I'm back to teaching. Another PSA: don't shake hands with men. You don't know what they've done.
Carry hand
Carry
sanitizer.
hand sanitizer after you shake hands
Yes.
with men. And then I'm like, uh I notice I've got like a cyst on the side of my
Oh
penis.
no.
And I go
Oh,
in to the doctor because I'm at I have this free medical
That's
care at
terrible.
Stanford, and I
Mhm.
go in to Kaiser Permanente, and I have to show my penis to the doctor,
oh.
and I say, "What is this?" And they said, "Oh, it's a fungus. You get that from
But you were in India.
it's carried." No, I was in
Oh,
California. I
It's
was in
in
back in
Stanford,
California, and you said you get that. It's a fungus that's passed
like
from,
athlete's foot.
like,
oh
athletes, but
no.
it's passed from sweat to sweat, and someone's dick disease has gotten onto your dick through sweat.
How do
And
you
I said,
get that
"Well,
sweet?
how am like, how am I gonna explain this? I can't explain that someone's dick disease is on my dick now from." It's like, "Well,
It's
what do you
basically
do?" It's like,
athlete's foot.
I teach in a very sweaty environment." And
But
so
I'm glad,
Oh,
and
I'm
he
glad
said
you're
is
sharing all these because the men don't tell you things, you know? I have no idea the point of view of men and
so
the real point of view.
what what you need to do as an Ashtanga yoga teacher, which I'd never imagined in my life, is when you leave the room to go to the bathroom, you have to wash your hands
Yes.
first before doing any kind of business down
Like
there.
even after.
You have to wash
Yes,
your hands first,
yes,
because I would
yes.
just wash my hands after, but you've got all kinds of gooey bacteria collecting all over your hands.
well, if we didn't learn anything from COVID, we learned this. That
Exactly.
germs travel
Oh my goodness.
all the
Yes,
They
time,
go
everywhere.
everywhere. They go
yes.
everywhere. And they used to do an impression of me in Taiwan that was terrible. So this is Russell teaching. It's like, what's Russell teaching? He always has this little, like, yoga towel that you do to wrap people,
Yes,
and, like, you would do the back bends
yes,
with the
yes.
people. And then it's so sweaty in Taiwan. It's unbelievably sweaty in Taiwan. It's so hot. And then they crank the heat up in a that atmosphere. And then I would just wash my underarms and my
Oh,
Oh,
arms,
with the towel?
and then I would wash
oh
my face,
Oh.
and I didn't realize I'd been doing it until they started doing impressions of me at parties.
Oh.
It's like, "Oh,
oh
here's
my
Russell
God.
with the towel and then wash his face." I was
Oh.
like, "I didn't know I was doing that. I'm just really
Then you
sweaty."
were lucky
And, like,
not to get
you've no idea.
sick.
Yeah, I'm lucky I wasn't sick.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's probably how I got
Yes,
osteoarthritis.
Do you use one of those towels to backbend those big,
yes,
tall men in your
yes. That's what I
classroom?
was gonna say. Yes, yes. Because otherwise, I'm small, so sometimes I have to use my whole
Yeah.
body for some assisting. So yes,
Yeah.
definitely, I will get. I don't like it to get too close.
Yeah. And have you found, like, as you've aged and you've been teaching for so many years also, do you feel like your strength is the same? Is it more? Is it less?
I think, believe it or not, I think it's more. I, I also had to
Yeah.
develop technique when I didn't have the kind of
Yeah.
strength for some things. I wouldn't be able to
Mm.
pick up people from Karandavasana if I make them do the work also. Otherwise, I cannot do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're tiny girls. I can pick them up with one finger, but many times they're not. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Just
feel
I feel like, you see Saraswati or Guruji, like, they got stronger as they got older.
I don't
Um,
know. So that's good to know. You know,
yeah, 'cause she's like a bull, Saraswati.
I heard that
Mm,
very
mm,
very strong. Yeah, so
yeah.
I have to develop. I don't think I'm the strongest for sure. And sometimes, like I said, if I try to avoid the catching on the big boys in my sword, but sometimes he
Yeah.
sends me there. You have
You
to
do,
learn.
yeah.
Yes. So I have.
Have you noticed, like, any back pain or anything? Because 'Cause you're quite a small
Flexible
woman
person.
and very flexible too,
Yes.
so I know that's usually what, like, when you're assisting a lot of times you can develop some
You
back
know,
pain from having to lift so many heavy
yes.
bodies.
So I that's the thing that I was saying. I had to learn technique. I haven't gotten injured, of course, but sometimes
Mhm.
from something else that I didn't think
Yeah,
that I could injure, like
yeah,
doing something in Marichasana D with people and using my legs, and then the next day
right.
is like my sacrum is like this. I didn't realize I could get
Yeah.
Yeah,
injured that way, for example. But
Mhm,
I, lately I feel like I am a little bit better at that. Sometimes I do get with
yeah.
Supta Kurmasana, especially when they
yeah,
grab the
that's fun.
hands and then I move to the feet and then they don't grab. I said, you have to keep catching. Don't uncatch.
To let go. Well,
Yeah,
and it's also helpful to get to, like, identify, like, a big boy as an assistant and say, "You are gonna be my
Yes.
assistant from now
So
on."
I said that to one of my students today. You have to. We are doing intensives. I got Sharath's permission to do intensives to go deeper with the practice and teach a little bit the teachers at
Mhm,
my Shala. And I said, well, when
mhm,
I come to India, that somebody can keep the community practicing. So I got that
yeah.
permission, and I told one of these tall boys that he has to take it because he has to start helping me
mhm.
with the bigger men.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
And
a good
today
a
I
good
just told him, and
yeah,
yeah.
that's a
he
good way.
said okay. So yes, but I some of the other teachers at my shala are taller. They're pretty strong. So sometimes
Mhm,
when I usually do
Yeah.
all of it, but when I want them to learn more so they can help.
mhm.
And do you do anything, like, for your body? Any other therapies or
You know, I,
anything to,
before
like, help you?
yoga, like I was saying, I used to work out. I was a gym rat, and when
Yeah.
I was doing college and working out all my life, so I and then I stopped. I don't know if you ever went to Akash in Mysore. This doctor that was fixing everybody
Oh,
with a
yeah.
Oh,
lot
Dr.
I
Akash.
went
with
I
a
went
lot of
once. He's
pain,
very
what
intense.
that. So
Elbow,
yes,
yeah.
the elbow. He told me one day. I went to him and he said, you used to work out, and I said yes, I used to lift weights, and then he said your body's missing that. You did it for so long, and then I was thinking about it, but then I got an injury which took me a while to get better, and then my legs were weak, so I said I need to
Yeah.
to teach my legs that they are strong. So I went back to do
Yeah.
cycling and then squats and things like that, and now I do a little bit. I go to the gym like
Yeah.
Mm.
for 40 minutes, and I do also for my arms. I do a little bit.
Yeah.
I do massages, all that kind of stuff. Also acupuncture.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of that because that's the only thing left that I'm any good at is like my open hips. And I think if I go cycling, because I'm getting so
Mhm.
fat, if I go start going cycling now, then I'm just like, oh, I'm just like, it's ridiculously, I'm like, I'm 50 years old. I'm ridiculously fat. And I'm going to lose my hips if I go cycling to work the weight off. And then it's a downward spiral and I'll have nothing left.
No, cycling would, unless you want to get competitive and super wow.
Yeah.
But if you take it like
Mm,
a ride and every day is good. If you like it, it's
okay.
is good. Especially, I guess you have very very nice places to go. No, on your bike. Where you live.
It is nice. It's pretty
In the
here.
summer.
Yeah, in the summer. In the winter time, which is most of the
Yes,
time, it's a little cold.
it's a little.
I don't know if you've ever been to a place this cold. Have you ever been up
I
north,
I
like
was
to
once
Finland?
today. No, no. But New York City gets really cold in the winter. People don't.
I
It's
went
true.
to New York from Chicago, and it was like it was like going to the Jamaica, like Jamaica. That's how warm it is compared to Chicago, and Chicago
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
anywhere near as
yeah.
cold as
Well, for me,
Alberta.
it
What's
was
actually
cold because I was
mm,
born in the Gulf of Mexico. I grew up in Mexico City, but I
Yes.
was born
Oh,
in Tampico, which is at the beach. And yes, I
yeah,
can get really cold. So you should have seen me
yeah.
when I live in New York when I was there. Like you barely see my eyes
Ooh,
when it's cold.
bundled up. That's so sweet. Tamaulipas, is that near where you
Yeah, well,
were?
Tamaulipas
That's
is a big state. It's in the Gulf of Mexico, like
mhm.
that. It goes like this shape, and
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the top is the famous river where all the immigrants cross, and is
The Rio
the border with
Grande.
Texas. The big border with the
Yeah,
McAllen and Brownsville is right there, Reynosa and
yeah.
Matamoros.
That's where you grew
I
up.
grew up,
I've been arrested there twice.
I grew up in Mexico City. I was born in yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I was
Okay.
born in
Okay.
the big
Okay.
city. That's why I like New York so
Okay.
much.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just Mexico City had, I think, some of the finest food I've ever
I'm glad
had.
you say.
And coming
Yes,
is like the sauces in the interior are just
yes.
exquisite, and I think people don't really pay enough attention to how to Mexican cuisine and how it is one of the most sophisticated cuisines on the planet.
It is. Thank you for noticing. Yes, it is. It has many
Mm.
dishes that are, when they get that standard, like they of the humanity, something almost like the pyramids or things like that. We have several dishes that are at that
Oh,
category, and then also Mexico City has the more museums for one city in the world. It has more museums than Paris,
mm.
for
Wow.
example. Yes,
It's just an
Wow.
extraordinary city to walk around
yes.
in. Yeah, it's
I grew
lovely.
up there. I went to college
Wow.
there
Yeah,
on my school, on my life, and I really liked it.
yeah. Can you make a mole from scratch? Could you do that right
Me?
now?
No, I'm
Yes.
terrible. I
No.
wish, it was like I have generations of women being great cooks. Even my sisters are. I'm the
Oh,
oldest of the four,
Wow.
and I thought I was gonna be like my dad was a civil engineer, and I was gonna be a business and wearing a suit and high heels, and then I look at myself and I say that was your plan, sweaty, no shoes. But I thought so. I cook basically, but not a mole. Probably,
okay.
maybe if I
Yeah.
ask one of my sisters, they can do it.
That's
I've
good. It's good
I
to have
Yes,
family that can help
yes.
you out.
I've been fascinated with mole since the very first time in Austin. I
Oh,
had the very first mole I had. I've been fascinated with it. I mean, it's something like it takes like 3 days, and there's 500 different ingredients, and I would just it's like a
Yes,
life dream to be able to
yes.
make
Oh,
something like that.
I'm glad you appreciate. And where's a good place in Austin? Did you?
Oh, I think the first place I had it was at Mother's, and it was some kind of mole enchiladas,
Mm,
something like that. And Mother's, it was like I don't think it was a very good restaurant, like but it was like a very kind of family
uh-huh.
restaurant, and it was nice to go to.
So the food
Um,
was good.
but there's like,
The
Yeah, in San Antonio, you must have very good Mexican food that you can find
Yes,
there.
yes,
oh,
there's good, but sometimes when you go to a friend's house, or my mother used to come and cook. Now she's older, she's 85, and she doesn't want to travel that
Mm.
much anymore. But it was better to eat at home.
Yeah.
mm.
But it's
Didn't
I'm
we
very
didn't we go to a restaurant in San Antonio that served us crickets and
oh my
bugs?
Yeah,
god,
there was a Mexican
crickets!
restaurant there
I,
that does.
that's one
Yeah,
thing I never
crickets, all
tried, the
kinds of
crickets.
funny
But
things.
I did try the
I'm gonna
worm once.
the
Just
worm,
a
yeah,
Oh my
culture
gosh.
thing that I
yeah.
treat that the
Do you
worms.
remember the name?
But they
I'm gonna
fry
look up
them.
this
You put them in a
restaurant.
tortilla, and then you put sauce. They don't even taste like any. They're just crunchy, and they taste.
That was on the menu. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We went there and they
Hmm.
had that.
So when people are coming to your Shala to practice with Sharath, they
Back to the
can
yoga.
eat the crickets and the worms at the traditional Mexican
Maybe
restaurant.
they can imagine that. I don't know. We right now we have an invasion of crickets. They're all over.
Yeah,
Really?
all over the
Yes, it's
Midwest.
an invasion talking about
Wow.
crickets. But
What have you noticed about, like, your style of teaching? Do you feel like your style of teaching has changed from when you first started teaching to now?
yes, and I think, oh my god, and I thought I knew. But when I my first classes, I substituted sometimes a couple of my teachers at a yoga studio, but they were very simple yoga studios. And but I really started teaching at the gym that they asked me to teach, and they
Oh,
only gave me an hour, and I started to teach Ashtanga, slowly and breathing, and then they were complaining that they were not sweating. So the manager, that she really liked me, and she said, Anna, just teach them how you practice. You teach them. So I started teaching more postures like that, and the speed, and then they were complaining that it was too intricate. And I said, and one time I have to tell you, I said and then of
yeah.
40 people, only 20 came back to my class. But I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
When you said
They
om,
didn't like the Om
and that
chanting?
was
oh,
long time ago. Now the gyms are different, but and then I said, I really don't care,
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say the opening mantra next time.
Yeah.
So I did, and only 4 people came after of 40. So I said, they're gonna kick me out. But then she sent me to the smaller room. This was a big room for 60 people or something. So I went to this other room that could have like 30, 25, 30. So I started
Yeah.
slowly, slowly, and she said, just teach the primary series, and let's see what happens. And then people started coming, and it was nice. Before
Wow, and you kept chanting?
Yes, everything. And then there was in those days they didn't allow inversions, so they asked me to teach a workshop for headstand, shoulder stand. It was like six
Why did they not
classes
allow
in those days
inversions?
because they
they're very
were
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
they're very
liability for
dangerous.
the
You can
gym.
hurt your neck.
But then after that,
Yeah,
I was able to. So I was they. I really appreciate the opportunity because I could teach. I practice teaching. At the which it was
Yeah.
not easy sometimes.
I
People
feel.
came sweating from spinning, or coming in and coming out, and so
Yeah.
I started like having more structure and more respect for the class, and so it took me a little while, but
Yeah.
then I was doing that, and then my husband that passed away, Dean, used to tell me, "You need a place to hang your hat," and I always was telling
Hmm.
him, "I'm not ready." And then one day he said to me, "Well, I found a place for you." And I went to see it, and it was not pretty. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make it pretty." And then he told me, I signed the lease, and I said, "Dean, I was not gonna do this," and that's how I, because yeah, in
Wow.
2008, and I said, I I own a yoga studio. No, like I cannot do that. I'm not ready. I'm not. I didn't feel like I could deserve it at some moment. It was a big
Wow.
responsibility. But then I was very lucky that my friends and my teachers started coming to do special classes or workshops. One of the first teachers was David Swenson, that came to teach.
David
That
Swenson, yeah.
yes,
Wow.
so
Hmm.
Wow.
You have to forgive us. Our child is having a little bit of an emergency, so Harmony is just texting him. But I wanted to ask you about Dean, if that's okay. Our my good friend Sarah Morner, she wanted me to get you on the show. You're very
I
important to her,
know
and someone that she
he,
really looks up to her. Looks up to
yes,
you, and she had one of the things that she had mentioned was you know the that Dean had passed on. That was a really kind of
hmm,
incredible. That's an incredible
yes,
journey to have to endure. I told Harmony that this is it for me. I'm not.
it's,
I'm
yeah,
done. And if Harmony passes on, like it's I'm not going to be on the market, for anything after this. I'm not
yes,
interested. And I can't even. It's unfathomable to me to even I can't even imagine what it's like.
yeah.
It's
It was
impossible.
super, super, super difficult. And my sons were 15 and 17, and that was very hard also. you know but
Oh,
he
Yeah.
that I was like, it was like a miracle, because I was surrounded by all these people, Shala people. I remember David Williams had just been here and stayed with us. They used to play chess, Dean and
Wow.
and all these people started to support me in different ways. And because, I said, I'm not gonna keep the Shala open. He used to do all the business part. I was just teaching, and I couldn't. But all these miracles, uh, I can tell you, all these people that were in my life those days, and they say, "You're not gonna close. You're not gonna close, and we're gonna help, and we'll be here." David and Shelley came to San Antonio, you know,
David and
Yes, David
Shelley. Yeah.
Swenson, and they said, "We're gonna spend the whole day with you. Just tell us what you want." And I said, "Well, come to my shala." And then I invited my son, took the class, and my sister. They were here, and they gave us a class, and then we spent the whole day together, and things like that. That I thought, who does that? Who
Mhm.
does that?
Amazing.
And I have this special place in my heart for
Mhm.
them. And David was here last year, and it was so nice
Yeah.
to have him again. But it was difficult. I'm not gonna say, and I don't know. People say, "Oh, the practice helped me," and it sounds funny, but it did. It did. I had this habit of putting a mat and doing my practice, so that habit helped
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
And then that I had a
Mm.
responsibility of my two sons, and then my shala used to get up, and I
Mhm.
never stay in my bed. That never happened. I don't even know.
Mm.
And like you said, Dean was the love of my life. He was my soulmate, and then he was so. I always thought he was more a yogi than I was, because he was always so supportive of, and or even of me having a yoga shala. But it was
Mm.
difficult, like you said, Russell. It's true. You find that, but through the years, and then I'm already with someone, and a lot.
Oh,
Yes, yes, yes. So it's nice and he
Yeah.
has
wow.
been to India already. He, we were starting
Wow.
just going out, and they said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going 3 months to India," and then he just showed
Oh,
up one day there. I went January, February, March, and then he appeared in February. But
mm,
yes,
Amazing.
so but I think this all facilitating this this journey of yoga is amazing,
Yeah.
and
mhm.
but it is very difficult. It is very difficult. That sometimes I think about
Yeah.
it. I say, how did I do it? It's very difficult.
Mm,
But I think as you say, it's helpful to have the
Yes.
practice something that makes you feel kind of like
Mm-hmm.
yourself despite feeling
You're right.
grief or feeling
so
deep depression
displaced.
or sadness or not knowing what to do or how to carry on at that time of transition. We kind of lose ourselves because when someone we love dies, part of us
Yes.
also dies with them. And so having that thread to kind of hang on to help you be there for your
Yes.
sons and be there for yourself, I think is really
Yes. But
powerful.
it is like you said exactly too, that you feel I'm still here. You have that
Yeah.
Mhm.
practice, and the really the community, and then going. I was going to Encinitas still, and then Tim Miller
Yeah.
here was here 3 months after. Also was very helpful for me, and then and just
Yeah.
having this community. I feel like I always say I never met Patavi Jois, but his phrase of a practice, practice, and all is coming. I always tell people is that for me the all is coming is the people that I have met. It's
Yeah.
Mhm.
like, and
Beautiful.
when I'm in my
Yeah,
soul, and like I told you, I used to feel like I was the mother. Now I feel it's all these friends, and then I'm getting slowly closer to the teacher, to the teachings. It's also uplifting. It's very nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Having a community, a
Hmm.
sangha of people to be around you,
Yes,
to carry you through some of the dark times, I think is really helpful and
and I don't want to
important.
forget
Mhm.
my family, of course. The sisters are
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
incredible, and all the kids. Even
mm,
the kids, my nieces, everybody was part of that. Me getting up and stand up. You can continue.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes,
But it's 15 years ago
yes. It's
now
gonna be
that Dean
yeah, in
passed.
December, 15 years. Sometimes it feels
That's
so.
I mean, that amount of time that amount of time must like, it must be shocking that that amount of time has passed has
It's
gone already.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yes, it's shocking.
It's
Yeah.
funny, my good friend, Frank
Mhm.
Sclafani, it's the anniversary of his
Oh, I'm
death
sorry.
today. He passed on 10 years
Hmm.
ago now, and it's unbelievable to me that it was 10 years. Like, it's just, and he was a
Hmm.
great Ashtangi. He was so devoted. He was in the room when Amberlin's shoulder was dislocated in Encinitas. He
Yes, I
he had
remember.
said
I
that the
was I
firemen
was
were
in
so
Ensenada.
You were there, yeah. He said the firemen were so handsome, and
Yes,
so they were putting her arm back together. They were so
yes.
handsome. It was like, and it's just like yesterday,
Mhm.
that workshop with Sharath,
Yes,
and it's so long ago
yes.
now.
I was there that time, but I also was doing a training with team. So I believe
Yeah,
that time I
Yeah.
only took one class, and but then
and you made the
yes,
one.
and then I
Yeah.
told I was friends, already with Amberlyn, and then we talk about it, and I was encouraging her, because I said
Mm,
I do drawbacks again, and you're much younger. You're gonna recover, and
mhm.
so how is she doing with that?
Yeah. Because that's a similar injury to your own
It's the same,
shoulder
yeah.
injury, the
Yes,
Dislocation,
mine
dislocation.
yeah.
was
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
fell and I made a mistake, but for her it was just like I think it was chakrasana. She said that she sleep.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She slipped in rolling
yes.
back. She slipped. It came right out. She's doing good. She's a professional lady,
She's doing a
and
lot of
Oh,
Pilates.
she's doing a lot of Pilates, and she has a
She looks
brand. She
amazing.
looks great. Has a brand new car and a dog,
nice.
and could and her. I think I think all in all, I think she's been through kind of an amazing journey because she had been like an assistant to Al Gore, and she was an assistant in the John Kerry
Wow.
campaign, and it was a kind of a big deal. And then went through a whole recycle and changed her life midstream to go do
Yes.
Ashtanga yoga for a while, and now is kind of back to what is probably the thing that she should be doing, where she's an executive assistant
Hmm.
now, and a high powered executive, and it kind of you know where the right dharma for her.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah,
I can see her also
yeah,
doing that. That's so nice.
yeah,
I'm glad
yeah,
you let me know. I haven't heard in a long time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, the community is such a beautiful connection. I think you're right that it really is the people we meet and continue to
Yes.
meet through the practice that is really a shining
Mhm.
light
hmm
in the world, that we can continue to cherish and uplift and support each
Yes.
other in positive
Yes.
ways.
yeah,
And as
Yeah.
the years go
yeah,
by, then you learn to see what is important. What is
Yeah.
really
hmm
important.
yeah,
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 exactly. And it's not really the handstand.
Exactly.
yeah. It's
Exactly.
the extraordinary lightness of being, and realizing that
Yeah.
we were given this gift to
Yes.
witness. That's it. Just bear
Hmm.
witness. And it's wow. It's such a little tiny rock in the middle of nowhere on the farthest reaches of a galaxy that's in, the middle of time and
Hmm.
space, and we're just going to talk to each other on a computer. It's absurd, but also
It's also
amazing.
amazing.
And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yes. I always
Uh,
say, when I was younger, because I have had many lives in one, I was the manager of a celebrity in Mexico. She's an actress and a singer. But I always like
oh,
my position behind the camera. I always like that.
yeah.
And then when the pandemic came, everybody had to become an actress, an actor.
Yeah.
On
Yes,
TV. Yeah. Ugh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
wow.
different times these
yes,
days, isn't it?
yes. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's also the benefits. Sometimes, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
talking to my mom and seeing each other. She's Mexican, but I also
Yeah.
have a sister in Switzerland, and I have two nieces there. And so sometimes
Wow.
Mm.
we were able to do the Zoom all the time during the pandemic and look at each other, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We recently hired a makeup assistant to work for us because we have a whole broadcasting booth. We're going to get a couple of ferns as well to sit behind us because
We need ferns.
yeah, we picked up the endorsement from Volkswagen. I heard that we're going to be
Yes.
driving the Volkswagen. They're going to be promoting the show, so we're going to see some changes
Oh,
around here. I got a
really?
haircut.
It is
It's good. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Oh, very good. But it's nice to see your paintings.
Thank you. Those are for
Very,
sale. Speaking of marketing, actually, no, VW is not sponsoring the show, but we welcome VW to sponsor the
yes.
show. So,
That would be nice.
but we are sponsoring you. You're getting Paramaguru
Yes.
Sharath Jois to come to San Antonio
And what are the
in
dates?
November
No,
13th.
16 to 20. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know about this.
November 16th to
Yes.
20th. Where can people
They
sign
they
up?
can go Yogashala, San Antonio, or sonima.com. Is that the where they have all the tour.
Sonima.com?
All the it starts in New
Sonia's
York,
place?
and then the last closing the tour is San Antonio, and that's where they thank you. That's where they can sign up. Is I feel it's so nice because it's unprecedented, and one of my arguments or whatever. Sometimes my Spanglish is not very good. I hope I said the good word. My
Yeah.
topics of convincing him was like
Argument, yeah.
that we could have been able to attract other people that cannot go to expensive cities, or and this is
Mhm.
and it's happening that all these
Mm.
other communities coming, and people from Mexico, of
Yeah.
course, that they can
Yeah.
even come driving from the border,
And
and it's nice.
Well, it
yeah.
really is an inspiration to, I think, a lot of people, because you'd have the impression that only Andrew is
Yes,
in charge, and then Miami and New
yes,
York, and
and
that's
then
it. But the idea that a little
yes,
Shala in San
yes,
Antonio or Dubuque, Iowa, who knows who's
exactly.
next? You could be
Yes,
next. If you're doing Ashtanga yoga in Boise, you could be
you're saying it
next. You
perfectly
just
well.
have to
This is
ask.
exactly what is
Yeah,
going on, which is very nice, don't you think? That
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
and then hopefully he gets super happy that he can see this community in this place that he didn't even know it existed, because he kept telling me, Austin.
Yeah.
I said, no. Says, it's a miracle that he's coming to this our
Yeah.
little San Antonio here.
Yeah.
You you
And
have to get them on the little boats
We
in
are.
the river
It's
walk. You have to get them
Yes,
on the boat.
we're
Yeah.
planning
Mm,
to show
mm,
a list of many things that we are planning to show him to choose from,
mhm,
yes.
and let's see. I hope he
mhm.
chooses that.
Of
Yeah.
course, the river walk
Yes,
is a must.
yes,
So
River walk must, but get on the boat. Don't just walk around.
yes,
Something else he likes to do, he likes to skydive. So you can get him in one of those containers where they do the skydiving like 10, 20
yeah.
feet. He loves that. So put him in one of those little
vacuum things.
vacuum
Oh,
things
here's
where he
one. Are
can,
you sure? One.
yeah, yeah, he loves it. He loves it. Yeah. So do the vacuum thing
Oh,
with him. Just surprise him. We're all going in. Get your little helmet on. We're all going in the
yes.
vacuum tube.
Oh, well, we
Great.
actually have a
Yeah.
place like that here. Yes.
Okay, good.
So I'm hoping.
Should be
Of
number
We
course you
have.
one.
do.
Get your reservations
Yes,
now.
It's Texas. Go big
Yeah,
or go home.
yes,
that's right.
yes.
Yeah.
So I hope he likes it. He likes the idea.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be
I'm
saying,
sure you will.
um, when is this coming out? The podcast. I'm gonna say
As
the
soon as
surprise,
possible.
the
Yeah.
surprise that we're gonna make these T-shirts, and I says, yeah. And at the
Ah,
back we have this "Pick it up, you all." Like the way this you
pick
all,
it up,
y'all.
y'all.
Pick it up,
Yes.
y'all. Pick it up. Mm.
Nice.
So hopefully he likes
I
it.
love it.
You pick it up, you
Yes.
all.
Y'all.
We
Mm.
say, and maybe it's not a good translation, el sabor, el sabor of this community, the flavor of it's very Hispanic also, you
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So let's see.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
hope
yeah.
he does. We're really
Yeah.
looking
Beautiful.
forward,
Well,
doing the best we
yeah.
can
Okay.
for this to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you should, once you get your pod captains in
Yes,
charge, your only job, you just drive him from his house
yes,
to the
that's
Shala.
my
That's
job.
it. And
Yes,
you let That's it. And you let everyone else do
yes,
everything else. They're in charge of the
yes.
pit. They're in charge of the front desk. You leave them to it. You just have to pick him
Mhm.
up. And then, because you're going to be tired all day
I know,
driving him
I know.
everywhere. So let let your pit bosses do
Yes,
their
thank
job,
you.
and
That
they're
was
in charge
very
of it.
good
Leave it
advice.
to them.
To have
Yeah.
somebody in charge of every position. They always say,
Station.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally in charge of
yes,
that station. Yeah. And if they have to text you to get advice for how to do their job, you need a new
yes,
boss. You need a new person in that job. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think we're getting there. Like there's
Okay.
volunteers, and they are very, very good at
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And maybe Robbie will come from California to do the parking.
Okay, that would be
Oh my
great. Because
Well, thank you so much for coming
no,
on the
thank
show
you.
today.
It
It's been
went
such a
super
pleasure.
fast that I couldn't stop laughing. It was so nice, so nice. I really appreciate.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we wrap up, I want to invite you to take the next step into transforming your business with the Spiritual Entrepreneur Archetype Quiz. This quiz isn't just about labeling yourself. It is a powerful tool to help you uncover your unique leadership superpower. By revealing your spiritual entrepreneur archetype, you'll gain insights that can reshape how you're approaching your business, help you attract your ideal clients, and align your energy more directly with goals that will help you feel nourished and satisfied when you reach them. This is so much more than just a simple quiz. I've put so much time and energy, blood, sweat, and tears into it, and it is the key to discovering your natural strengths and really optimizing your business or creating a business from the beginning that is aligned with your essence. You'll walk away with personalized strategy, not just to make your business more successful, but ways to stay energized as you work and make every aspect of your work an authentic representation of who you are in the world and who you are here to serve. So, if you're ready to unlock this blueprint to your unique leadership style and really create a soul centered business, head on over to my quiz now, the Spiritual Entrepreneur Archetype Quiz, and discover what your archetype is and what's waiting for you on this incredible journey of building a life and business you love. The link is in the bio. Drop me a message on Instagram. Tell me what type you are. I would love to continue to support you in this, and I would love to know what is your spiritual entrepreneur archetype. That's it. We've concluded another episode of the Finding Harmony podcast. I just want to thank you so much for doing the work that changes the world, starting with yourself. It truly does make a huge difference. Please make sure you have your automatic downloads turned on wherever you listen so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I have so much more magic I can't wait to share with you. Lastly, if you're on Instagram, I love connecting and hearing from you. So come on over and say hello at Finding Harmony Podcast. And you can also come say hello to me personally at Harmony Slater Official. Thank you again for being here. I cannot wait to share more with you in our next episode.